Oh, hell no. I'm back. And you're probably thinking to yourself, I knew he was going to say it. I knew he was going to say he's back because motherfucker, I'm here. And I ain't never leaving for at least a couple months. All right. It's Joshua Lamb, host of this long-awaited podcast. Very long-awaited. You know what I'm back on, that sippers. Delicious. Yeah, it's been a long 7 months. It's been a long 7 months, and honestly, I haven't been able to sleep. I haven't been able to eat. Clearly, I've been sipping. Yeah, hear me. But it's been a long time coming, and I know I've been told, I've heard through the grapevines that the people, my people, the watchers, the viewers of this podcast, for 7 months, all they've been able to do is think about me, and it's it's humbling, it's flattering, you could say, and listen, I understand why you're thinking about a specimen of this sort, probably loving me, wanting me, just craving my body, and honestly, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for your wants. I don't blame you for your needs. But one thing I motherfucking need is fantasy football season, baby. Yeah, bitch, I'm back, baby. Honestly, I hit that note better than expected. And let's just say I'm pleased with it. So a couple things to mark down to start. One thing about this podcast, it's never scripted. It's off the top, you hear me? You can probably tell because it is just fucking everywhere. But I want to start with a few things. I want to start with, we have a name change. It was fucking whatever it was. It's been 7 months. What was it? Who am I? I don't know. But I will say it's not your grandmother's fantasy football podcast. I could say that. I could say that right now. And we have had a change. When I say we, I mean me. It's just me. A change in name. And I want to put a special shout out to my boy, Spencer Whitaker. Kid is just downright. He's just a light bulb up there with great ideas, just back and forth. So many of them, chock full of them. Guy is chock full of great ideas. And he came to me and said, "Hey, the name that you have, it's Garbanzo," is what he said. I don't know if it was verbatim. I don't know if it was word for word, but I will say he said something, hurt my feelings a little bit, but he came around with a crisp replacement name. And that name being Can't Silence the Lamb. Ooh. Listen, for all those movie lovers out there, all those movie buffs, Can't Silence the Lamb. I mean, you know what it's about. Silence of the Lambs. He went ahead, did a play on words, and said, "Can't silence the lamb." Lamb being me not being silent, because one thing you can't do is silence the lamb. So I'll tell you that right now. So shout out to Spencer Whitaker with just another bright idea. I mean, the kid is he has it all together up top. Hell of a golfer. I wouldn't say hell of a golfer. He's getting there. And if Spencer, you're watching it, you know what I'm talking about. Let's work on a little bit of that hook. Let's turn that baby into a nice draw. Maybe even a little bit of a fade. Easier to control. Other than that, another little news flash is I am about to be in 3 leagues this year. So if you thought you were getting less content out of this guy, by the way, you see me? Lake Show, yeah, hear me? Christian Wood just got signed. That boys are something special. But if you think you were getting less content, I need you to think again, because I'm telling you, three leagues, my head's gonna be spinning with content, spinning with ideas, huh? I'm a little nervous about three leagues. I think when you get into more than one as a fantasy manager, as a GM of some sorts, things start getting a little dicey. things start getting a little dicey. You're crossing teams. You got one guy on one team. Next thing you know, you're playing that guy in your other league. So you're rooting, but you're not rooting. It gets real messy. So, and for you to avoid that, it's almost impossible, because when you're doing your drafts, you're taking who you can take. You know what I mean? Whoever falls to you, what kind of value you can get, whatever. So it's hard to really avoid something like that. You're not going to have the same team in all leagues that you have, whether that be 2, 3, whatever. I mean, some of those crazy motherfuckers out there with like 9, 10. I don't know. I don't know them. I don't want to know them. I'll never be them. But I'll say this. 3 is on its way. I actually have my 3rd draft coming up in an hour and 35 minutes and 22 seconds. Those 22 seconds are critical for my strategy, my game plan. So, yeah, I mean, having the 3rd league, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a 12-team league, standard scoring PPR action. And I'm looking forward to it. A couple guys I actually don't know other than my buddy Trey. He was putting a league together, and I was like, yeah, let me join up on that thing. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, got my draft coming up on that. Pretty much the basis of this draft or this episode is really just talking about my drafts. Who I got, who I didn't, who I wanted, who I didn't, or wanted or didn't. Who did I get on my squad? And one thing, if you watch any episode of last season, is who was fucking your boy, you know? And I'm not saying that there was only one particular fucking going around either. Like, I mean, it was just downright fuck city, baby. I mean, everywhere I turned, I was just getting smoked. You know, whether that be an injury, whether that be, you know, a trade or a bell cow situation, maybe some lower usage, an injury to the quarterback, you know, an injury to the offensive line. I don't know. All I'm saying is everywhere I looked, I got fucked. All right. Just to name a couple examples, Javonte Williams, smoked. Breece Hall, smoked. I had him in both leagues. I was smoked. Okay. So I'm used to it. I'm used to just absolutely just, you know, getting smoked, clapped. Clap might be a little strong. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is it's been a tough year. It was a tough year for your boy regarding some fantasy situations. Delicious. Looking back on last year, 2 leagues, one didn't make the playoffs on some bullshit. All right. Overall, Javonte Williams, Breece Hall getting hurt, whatever it may be. Second league, I ended up getting 3rd. You know, got a little bit of that money. I mean, I got my money back. I didn't really get any profit of any sort. It's almost like I didn't play the fucking league. But let's just say I walked away, a couple bucks in my pocket. Actually, never left my pocket. You know what I mean? So really no harm, no foul. Lost a couple bucks in the other one. Didn't get last, which was nice. But we did go on our golf trip. And the person who did get last, let me back off here. I don't want to talk on any strings, bitch. The guy who was last, I mean, Lord bless his soul. He's serving our country. Ridgeroni, I love you more than life, kid. I need you to be safe out there. I'm actually playing your first week, so I'm going to smack that ass this first week, but I still need you to be safe out there. Okay? But he was last year. He missed the golf trip because of obligations that he had, you know, protecting our freedom. So, you got to give it to him. But, of course, as it would go, if you're protecting our freedom and you got last and you can't be on the trip, that punishment should go to the next player that was last, the guy who lost or won in the little toilet bowl. Okay? So, that being said, my boy Trev Dookie, he missed out and he ended up not wearing the skirt. So we're going to have that roll over to next year's golf trip because Ridge will be able to go on it. He's going to have to show off them legs. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. This guy is just pale as a ghost, as is. I mean, every once in a while I'll get a little crispy tan on him. You know what I mean? He's more of a burnt tomato action. But he's very pale. The legs are going to be glistening out there in a skirt that might not even cover the nuts. I mean, let's be completely honest here. It's gonna be warm out there. Those things are gonna have a little sack to them. a little much there, but you heard it here first. A little sack to him. Going back to what really matters. I want to talk about my drafts, my leagues. Main league that is my go-to league. It's the one I've been in the longest, is with all my Stetson boys. 10-team league. We've kept it at 10. Haven't really thought about going to 12. 12 gets a little dicey. We like a little bit more of a stack situation. We want them high-scoring games, okay? And then we got my golfing crew, my boys, my other boys, all right? And we're a 12-team league over there. And then the new league is another 12-teamer, okay? Little Bobby Boucher action right there. What was that? Is it Billy Madison? I don't know. All I know is Today Junior. So looking at it, I'm more of a 10-team guy. I like 10-team. Don't get me wrong. I know my shit for the most part. I mean, you might think, oh, Josh, you didn't even make the playoffs one of those things last year. Well, how about you go fuck yourself? It's a sensitive subject. Don't get in my face about something, okay? I don't make the playoffs. How about you come talk to me man to man, huh? Smack you around. Talk to me about not making playoffs, huh? Take a fucking sip again before I lose my cool. Jesus. So, looking at it, I should be like, you know what? I like 12 teams, because you have to have a little bit more skill involved. You can't just be going around. Prime example, in our 10-man league, the number one pick was my boy Peanut. Joseph had the number one pick. Of course, he goes with the old Justin J. Can't blame him. Next thing you know, second pick comes around, goes ghost on us. Ghosty. Auto drafts the rest of the fucking draft. At the number one pick. Can you believe it? He had the most god-awful excuse, saying that his phone died while he was on the beach. I don't trust him. I don't like him. But God, do I love him. But what I was going to say is he auto-draft into an absolute behemoth of a team. Just stack city. And that's just the luck of the draw. And that's the problem. I mean, usually with those 12-team leagues, you start auto-draft and you're picking up, you need value in 12-team leagues. That's the problem. You can't be going around and just choosing the very tippity top. Next thing you know, you got 3 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, and about 7 defenses. I don't know. But looking at my 10-team league, let's dive in. Let's dive in. Looking at my 10-team league, I got the 4th pick. I got the 4th pick. Let's take a look at that draft recap. Yeah, the 4th pick. Okay, so I'm fine with saying this information because this video won't be coming out until after my draft is over for my third draft. And let me talk a little bit about my thinking, why I did what I did, why I went where I went, why I picked where I picked, how I picked, my roster construction. Okay, looking back on last year, I went very, very running back heavy. Very running back heavy. I was going stars. I wanted stars. And the reason I went with that is because I felt like there was value in later round receivers. Okay. Looking at it, I think I ended up going like Javonte Williams before he got hurt. I went Christian McCaffrey and I went like Leonard Fournette, like my first 3 picks, like off rip. Okay. Javonte Williams was in for a massive season before he got hurt. But bottom line is I went very, very running back heavy because I saw guys that were like, that came on strong the year before. So I was like, I think they're probably going to drop. Like they're not going to be first round, second round, third round, fourth round picks, whatever. I might be able to snag them late. So let me go running back heavy when it comes to those being able to grab some value in the wide receiver realm, if you know what I mean. That's where I ended up getting like Amon-Ra St. Brown in one of my leagues and like Michael Pittman in another. Trying to think about who I got in this one. I think I got DK Metcalf a little bit later on and I ended up trading for like CeeDee Lamb, but I think I got like Deontay Johnson somehow, which he was buns last year. I moved him quickly because that's just how I rock. And yeah, so this year, I think everybody knows, at least all these fantasy gurus are talking about the weight that these receivers are carrying. Because it's like, who cares how you get the points? You know what I mean? If you have fucking receivers that are popping for 30 points a game, not really, but like, every once in a while you have Justin Jefferson going for 40, a 40 piece, can carry a fucking team that week. You know what I mean? So looking at it, why would you care where you're getting those points? And it seems like most of those big burst games, the consistency at 20 or 20 plus, whatever, are coming from receivers. Okay, so with that being said, it seemed like the wide receiver market was like the way to go. It's like you go wide receiver and you lock in that position as fast as you can. Of course, depending on the pick, you know what I mean? If you're in a spot where like literally the first couple guys that are the stallions are off the fucking list and you have to go running back, then that's just how it goes. You know what I mean? You kind of got to go with the flow with the draft. So I was at pick 4. And of course, Justin Jefferson goes off the board. Christian McCaffrey goes off the board. Number 3, Jamar Chase goes off the board. Okay. So a couple people I had in mind was like Austin Eckler or Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce just got hurt. He should be fine. But luckily, like in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I maybe have dodged a bullet just a little bit. But I'm looking at these running backs. I mean, I could have gone Austin Eckler, Bijan Robinson, whatever. Devontae Adams was still there, of course. Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp. We'll get to Cooper Kupp in a minute. But I thought where I was at, I had to take one of the most electric players in motherfucking fantasy. And that's Tyreek Hill. Went with Tyreek Hill in the first. Let me solidify that wide receiver 1 spot. Because one thing you don't want to ever have to do is question that first pick. You can't question that first pick. You just can't do it. That needs to be like your safe spot. Like you get them, you set them, and you're good. You're Gucci. All right. Either it's going to be for 14, 15, hopefully 20 something points if they pop off, maybe even more, whatever it may be. All I'm saying is that you want to have consistency there. You can't be worrying about them at all at any week. Like you should be able to set and forget when it comes to that first pick. I mean, even going into like the second pick, you should be able to do that. But bottom line is 1 is very important to set the tone of how you want that team to be built. Okay. I mean, that comes back to like the Travis Kelce pick. You pick Travis Kelce, next thing you know, like, yeah, you don't have a receiver, you don't have a running back, but you just picked up like the biggest advantage in fucking fantasy football is having a great tight end because all these tight ends are buns. So looking at it, go Tyreek Hill. Happy with the pick. You know, and then being the 4th pick, you got to wait until 17 for your next pick. And I was like, okay, I started seeing people going off the boards. I mean, Patrick Mahomes went 13. I think that's Taft. Taft, a wild move going Patty Mahomes at the 13th spot. But hey, it's your choice. That's what you wanted to do. I understood because he went with Kelce in the first. He wanted a little bit of a stack option, didn't want to risk it. Do what you please, do what you want. Also a little bit of a shot to have to take to my boy Lucas over there. He went Josh Allen at 15. I mean, we spoke on it. He thinks it's crazy. I think it's crazy. I almost think it's the worst pick of the draft. You heard it here first, Lucas. If you're watching this right now, I hope you hear me. I hope you hear me loud and clear. That was the worst pick of the draft. Don't get me wrong. Josh Allen's a stud. Don't like how this is moving. Yep. Let me flip that. Perfect. So looking at it, my pits aren't sweating. They good? Yeah, they're Gucci. Ooh. So looking at it, let's get down to the round 2. At 16, CeeDee Lamb goes off the board. And I was eyeing him. I was eyeing him while the draft was coming down, while I was getting closer to my picks. And I'm thinking to myself, if I can get CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill and solidify that wide receiver spot, I'm going to be happy. I'll be very, very happy. I mean, honestly, you can almost bet on a combination about 40 points a week from that wide receiver spot. And looking at it, I was like, okay, let me see what I can make happen. All right, 16 hits, the big fucking kahuna robs my ass. And he knows it too. He fucking felt it. He felt my grips, my fucking hot breath on his fucking neck. Ooh, CeeDee Lamb, waiting for his ass, right? Took him like that. Knows it's my last name. Know it's my cousin. And he takes him. Garbage. But then I had to pivot, all right? CeeDee Lamb goes off the board. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds to make a pick. Of course, we changed that to a little bit shorter after a couple rounds, but 1:30. So I'm looking at the board. I see Amon-Ra still on the board. I love me some Amon-Ra. I mean, I've been one of the biggest advocates for the guy since like 2 years ago when I had him on the pine when he was popping off at the end of the season, but I didn't have the nuts to start his ass. I needed to see it. I'm always one who needs to see it. I need to see it more than just once either. You know what I mean? So I started taking a gander at some of these other guys. And one guy who did it for me last year was a guy that a guy I traded for, Garrett Wilson. I went Garrett Wilson with number 2. All right. Looking at Garrett Wilson at number 2, everybody knows the deal. Everybody knows the deal on old GW. All right. You know what I mean? And that deal is, you know, Aaron Rodgers is there. And Aaron Rodgers, he may have sucked some ass last year. I mean, the guy was sucking ass left and right. Was just not looking too solid. I mean, he had his games, but he wasn't consistent enough to really put a dent in fantasy. I mean, he had some fucking guys that were able to put up big numbers. I mean, shout out my boy fucking Scoot Watson over there, baby. You know, salute. But looking at it, Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers being the number 1 guy over there. Receiver-wise, I'm not scared of Alan Lazard or fucking Randall Old Man Cobbs. I'm not scared of Corn on the Cobbs. I'm not scared of Randall Corn on the Cobbs stealing receptions from my boy Garrett Wilson. I'm just not afraid of it. It's not something I'm gonna be afraid of it. And if I was afraid of it, I would pull up on fucking Randall Old Man Cobbs and slap him around a little bit, taking too many receptions from my boy. Okay? If that's what I need to do, that's what I will do. So looking at it, I solidified that spot. People are talking about Garrett Wilson being like the guy this year. You know, guy was the rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year. He showed flashes, man. He showed flashes with some of the worst quarterback play I've seen since Nam. Was never in Nam, but I've heard terrible things. And one thing I will say is that they had some damn good quarterback play or terrible quarterback play. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. But all I'm trying to say is Garrett Wilson had terrible quarterback play. Okay, so any sort of upgrade should be super substantial. And of course, watching Hard Knocks, you see the chemistry between the boys, A-Raj, GW, you know what I'm saying? And I liked what I saw, and I decided to go with him. You know, I could have gone Amon-Ra, who proved it a little bit more. You know, he's not a coming off his rookie year. But honestly, I have a little spoiler alert, I have Amon-Ra in the other league. So I was like, do I put all my chips there? I could, because I know he's going to be great. But let me take a little bit of a risk here. You know what I mean? Let me go with the old GW. All right. So going into the 3rd round, I mean, I'll make this a little quicker for you. I don't want to be talking ye out over here. You know what I'm saying? 3rd round, I started looking for running backs. And going into these drafts, I thought to myself, where can I get some value at running back? I don't need them to be massive names. I need to have semi to high usage, as well as limited competition and can catch the ball out of the backfield. We're rocking PPR. You know what I mean? I mean, shit, you can rush for 20 yards, all I care. But if you have 7 receptions and like 40 yards on the ground and like a tutty through the air, I mean, boys, we're talking business, baby. So I was looking for running backs that might have a little bit of value in that mix. Okay, right before I get my pick, Joe Mixon goes off the board. I like Joe Mixon this year. Samaj Piron's off the board over there. He's not splitting carries with him no more. Samaj Piron's a stud. I like Samaj Piron a lot. So I could see why Joe Mixon was losing out on touches to him. Now, I don't really know who's really over there to take touches. He's going to be a legitimate bell cow and a great offense. Guy can catch the ball. Seemed like they put him there for goal line carries very often. So looking at Joe Mixon, I liked him. He was picked right before me, and I was like, okay, let me pivot. And this is a guy that I've been eyeing for quite some time. Going back to last year when I saw him just taking the league by storm, and it just made me hot because it was a waiver claim, and I missed out on him. And that is Ramondre Stevenson. Okay? And you might be looking at me, Josh, hey, baby, you not watching the news there, Pops? Ramondre Stevenson has a little bit of competition in that backfield. Listen, if you don't think I know this, you don't think I know what I know, take the fucking pen out. Listen, I got an Apple pen, by the way. Pencil. Pen? Apple Pencil. I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you two things right here. One, Ramondre Stevenson is a damn good back. 3-down back even, that you could say. The guy can catch the ball out the backfield. And one thing I love about the Patriots offense is that Mac Jones cannot move for shit. All right? That's what makes me nervous about some of these running quarterbacks taking the running backs are next to him. They're not looking to dump the ball off. They're looking to take, if they have nothing, they're taking off. They would rather take off. Jesus. They would rather take off than dump it off. I'd rather take off than dump it off. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I like to go with running backs that have quarterbacks that can't move. I mean, they got bricks for legs. Yeah, might as well have no legs the way they be moving. Mac Jones is slow as hell. He's onions. I mean, he's kind of onions. Let's be honest here. Guy has onion legs. And he's onions. But looking at it, dump off city over there. You know how old Belichick has used their running backs in the past. How Tom Brady was the dump off king. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson gets a lot of targets, a lot of catches. And I know you're asking about Zeke. What about Zeke? That boy is old as hell. When I say he's old, he's 28. Not that old. But honestly, he's a little chunky. And I feel he's just not as motivated as he used to be. Guy used to eat. Guy used to be munching. And now he's just now he's eating a little bit too much. You hear me? And I know that's an old joke. I mean, Josh, let's put the old jokes to rest. He's a damn good athlete and he's great by the goal line, whatever. And he'll probably fucking eat my lunch. Pause. But you get what I'm saying. He's not the same Zeke that he used to be. He's the Zeke that just got his role taken by Tony Pollard and he needed to find a new home. Bottom line. So looking at it, Ramondre Stevenson is still going to be getting predominant most of the carries. He might get a couple, he might get a little bit of less work on the goal line. But at the same time, I'm going to like his usage. I think he's going to be getting probably like, if I were to guess, 75% of the carries, maybe a little less, 70% of the carries. I don't think it's going to be like a 50-50 split. And even if it was a 50-50 split, honestly, Ramondre Stevenson has so much fucking upside in the passing game, he still might be a legitimate RB2 action. I mean, I got him on RB1, I know. But all I'm saying is it doesn't take much for him to get his when it comes to being in the offense. His PPR, he's a PPR guy. As long as he can get a couple touchdowns, he wasn't rocking a ton of touchdowns last year, and he was still producing. So I like the pick, especially going after two big boy receivers to start. Let's go to round 4. And I think this is where I got somebody who might be the difference maker this year. And I like to watch the videos. I like to watch the talkies. I like to watch the clips. I like to watch the shows talking about who could be the next guy. And I know Garrett Wilson was one, but there has been a guy that the words have been flowing, the words have been juicing, that he could be up next. And it's a guy coming off his rookie season. And you're probably thinking, oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. I don't care if you know who I'm talking about because I got him. Chris Olave. I like what I've been seeing. And that's the thing. I don't know about all these advanced stats. I think those advanced stats, they're bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like routes ran through like the yardage of the air and fucking, like how many steps he took between slants and shit. I don't know all that. I know one thing, and I know ball. Huh? The kid knows ball. All right? And one thing I see out of the kid is Derek Carr's there, new quarterback. He ain't rocking no Andy Dizzalt Dalton. Guy's cheekies. All right? And he was still he had 1,000 yards through the air. 1,000 yards receiving last year with Andy Redhead Dalton. I mean, I ain't catching no pass from some Redhead Dalton, you feel me? I mean, nothing against Redheads, I'm just kidding. But Derek Carr is there. I mean, I'm not seeing a ton of competition when it comes to getting targets. Michael Thomas is supposedly healthy. I mean, I got love for Michael Thomas. Yeah, I think he's I want him to succeed, but at the same time, I got Chris Olave. So maybe you would take a little bit of a back seat here, Papa. Maybe stub the toe or something and be out a couple weeks for your boy. Maybe even during playoffs. I don't know. I need a little something out of you. I need nothing out of you is what I'm getting at. So I went Chris Olave. People are saying that there's a chance that he might have a better year than Garrett Wilson. Do I say that? No. But do I think in my flex that Chris Olave could be a game changer? I mean, listen, if I have 3 receivers that end up in the top 10, there's a chance. I know it's probably a little less of a chance that it's going to happen, but there's a chance that Tyreek Hill, I could almost guarantee it, that he'll be top 10. Garrett Wilson has a very good chance to go in top 10 receiver. And Chris Olave has a way to be a top 10 receiver this year. So looking at it, if I can get 60 points out of my 2 receivers in flex, I am cash money, baby. Put it on me. All right. Going to round 5. Been drafting a lot of this dude lately. I mean, and I know I already said it. Travis Kelce is the guy when it comes to having a tight end. But the fact is, if I can get a game-changing tight end in round 5, I'm going to do it. And it's been the guy that I've been targeting in that round 5. After I solidify those 2 receivers and a flex or a running back, I've been going round 5 tight end, and that is TJ Hawkinson. All right. Number 2 tight end on the year last year for the old tight end spot. And I know it's never going to be Kelce, but if you're giving me consistent, 12 point, 13, 14 point games, sprinkling a 20 piece here and there, just consistency, because that's the hardest part about getting anything out of your tight end is the consistent aspect. You're taking just a chance every single week, unless it's Kelce, unless it's Mark Andrews. Hawkinson is getting to a point where you're not really taking a risk. He should be getting his. Being in the Minnesota Vikings offense, they threw the 3rd most of all teams last year, and I think he's going to be second in line for targets. Dalvin Cook isn't there anymore, which brings me to another guy I'm very high on. Justin Jefferson, I love, but they can't throw the ball to him 30 times a game. They're going to have to sprinkle that around. So I think Hawkinson is going to be a very, very solidified number 2 option in that offense. And I'm happy with that. If I can have a tight end that's the number 2 target in an offense, I want it. I know you're probably thinking, Jordan Addison, I think is his name, Jordan Addison, I believe. Oh, he's there. He's probably going to take some. That's fine. He's a rook. He's going to be number 2 to Justin Jefferson in the receiving group. But TJ Hawkinson, I think Kirk Cousins really liked him last year. And like I said, the guy can't move, so he's going to need that safety blanket underneath, which is going to be that old TJ Hawk. I mean, looking at his stats from last year, he had a 40-point game and a 36-point game. I mean, for a tight end to do that at any point is if you have that upside at some point, I mean, let's sprinkle in a little 16er, another 16er. You know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong. He had a couple stinkers. There's a 13 in there. There's a couple that are a little lower than I would like to admit. But the bottom line is he averaged out. He ended up being the number 2 tight end in the league, baby. So I grabbed him. I like him. I want him, and we'll keep him. Okay? Going into round 6, this is when I was I got to make a move on that running back 2 spot. And this is a guy that I've been eyeing. This is a guy that I've known that if he got a chance, he should be a legitimate RB2, maybe an RB1, if he plays the way he's played in spurts throughout his career as a backup. And I think you know who it is. It's that boy Alexander Mattison. Okay, looking at how he played behind Dalvin Cook for the last couple years, I think everybody knows if it came game day and Dalvin Cook was questionable or doubtful, limited, whatever it may be, somebody was running to the waivers if they didn't already have him, because a lot of people just stashed him because they knew if Dalvin Cook went out, he's good for a legitimate RB2, RB1 spot for the week. Okay, so looking at it, I think that he has an opportunity to be a stallion in this offense. He doesn't really have much competition. He has I think his name's Ty Chandler. Haven't heard great things about him since the preseason training camp. All that stuff's been going on. So I like being able to keep on with Alexander Mattison in the 6th round. I think that's great value. If he ends up being a solidified RB2 in the 6th round, I'm going to be super stoked about it, bro. Look at me in my eyes. Look at me in my eyes. I'm going to be super stoked about what I have to say to you, okay? So looking at it, looking at the gang so far, looking at the squad, Ramondre, Alexander, Tyreek, Garrett, TJ Hawk, Chris Olave. I mean, boys, there's not a single guy in that core part of my offense that isn't projected over 14 points this week. I know projections are bullshit, but all I'm saying is that we have some guys that can, I'm telling you, Alexander Mattison and Ramondre Stevenson gives me consistency of any sort. Shit. You give me 13, 14 points a game. I mean, I don't even know if that's like a ton of points, like considering like running backs. I mean, I'm sure like the higher end's going to be going up into that 18, 19, 20 range. But even if you're giving me 13, 14, 15 points a game, out of those RB slots, when I just got Chris Olave, TJ Hawkinson, Tyreek Hill, and Garrett Wilson, I'm riding off into the sunset with a chip on my back, bitch. Listen to me here. That's a guaranteed chip city. And you're probably thinking, Josh, I haven't even heard about your quarterback situation. I actually haven't even heard about your depth. How about you sit back and let me tell you a little something here, huh? I'll tell you. Fucking hold your horses, okay? A couple guys I wanted to look at later on in the rounds was Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor. Do not get me started on Jonathan Taylor, because I got to tell you, the boys, yeah, I mean, starting off hot with getting fucked, okay? But that's my other league. Has nothing to do with this one, so I'm going to keep my cool. Looking at the quarterback situation, I'm going to get a little hate for this, but a man's got to do what a man's got to do. And looking at my squad, I think my squad is so well-rounded, just so solid across the board when it comes to just getting consistent play. Like, I think my team can just be good every week. I'm not talking matchups. I don't see a lot of duds. Like, all these guys should get high usage in solid offenses or great offenses. I mean, there's great offenses on this list, but what I'm saying is they're all like the guy. Ramondre Stevenson's the guy. Zeke can fuck off, okay? Fuck off. Alexander Mattison should be the guy. Tyreek Hill, the guy. Garrett Wilson, the guy. TJ Hawkinson, the guy behind Justin Jefferson, which is fine. Chris Olave, the guy. These are all guys. I'm not stretching it too thin like, oh, I got to put a wide receiver 2 like on the depth chart in my flex spot and hope he gets volume. I mean, yes, it's very, I mean, it's going to happen. Of course, you can find those guys. But all I'm saying is I have guys that are supposed to be the fucking studs of the offense. And I love it. And I can't stop thinking about it. I go to sleep thinking about it. I dream about it. I wake up loving it. I drink my coffee thinking about it. Guess what I do while I drink my coffee? I look at it. And I can't stop looking at it because it's so damn beautiful. Let me get a sip. Jesus. I still haven't said my quarterback. But what I'm saying is my team is so well-rounded. I didn't take a quarterback early. I think you can get good enough value in the later rounds to really round off your team well. Because, I mean, if you have a decent quarterback, you're getting 17, 18, 19 points, maybe a couple 20s thrown in there, maybe a couple blow-up games, whatever. I mean, maybe a little bit less every once in a while if they have a shitty game. But I think with my squad, I was like, I can take a risk here and I can wait a little bit. I had somebody in mind who's been a stud in fucking fantasy years in the past. And you know who I'm talking about, and it's Mr. Massage himself. I mean, the guy better be loose with all those damn massages. He better be loose, and he better be ready to fucking sling that thing. Because Deshaun Watson, I'm looking at you, kid. I'm looking at you right now, and I need you to put up big-time numbers. And that's also something. If he gets back to his form, and I know he wasn't great last year when he came back from suspension. I know it wasn't great. I had him. I stashed him on my bench because I was thinking to myself, if I can flip Jalen Hurts and Deshaun Watson comes back and starts balling out, I can flip Jalen Hurts, have a star quarterback with Deshaun Watson. Didn't happen. And then an absolute stud of a core. Like I said, it didn't happen. I didn't end up making that trade, but I did have Watson, so I did monitor him throughout the games that he played. And the guy was cheeks. He had a couple good games at the end. He showed a little bit of promise, which I like to see. I've heard good things out of camp. Him and Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb, David Njoku, they got a pretty decent squad over there. And I like it. I think if he gets back to like a top 5 quarterback, I'll say it again. I'll say it a million times. I am leaving this league with the chip. With the motherfucking chip. All right? Looking at the bench, Cam Akers, love it. Apparently he might be the guy there. Again, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy's hurt, could be the guy. A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, one little tweak. A.J. Dillon's a legitimate RB1. DJ Chark in the Carolina offense. I mean, my boy Bryce needs a guy to throw to. Adam Thielen, I think, is tweaked up. Kadarius Toney. No one knows who the wide receiver one's supposed to be over there. They got MVS. They got fucking Sky Moore. Kadarius Toney could be that guy. Got Zach Moss on the pine with the Jonathan Taylor situation. You never know what could happen there. Could be the guy. Could suck. Hopefully, fucking Kareem Hunt from my other league ends up getting picked up by them because there's another situation with that. And then I just scooped up right before I started filming. I got a notification from the app that I utilize. Don't worry about the app. That Cooper Kupp will not play this coming week. All right. And McVay also stated there's a chance they might throw him on IR. Bottom line is they're going to have somebody to throw to. So I made a drop. Not going to tell you who I dropped, but I picked up Von Jefferson. I mean, 2 years ago, he was very solid in fantasy. You could throw him in like a flex position every once in a while, depending on the matchup. He wasn't great last year because of his injury, but I picked him up. Projected 11 points just because Cooper Kupp's out. They got to throw to somebody. I mean, other than Cooper Kupp, they didn't really have like a legitimate fucking wide receiver too. I mean, they have the Ben guy, they have Tutu Atwell, Tyler Higbee, but like nobody stands out as the guy after Cooper Kupp. So I think the best receiver there after Cooper Kupp is probably Van Jefferson or Von Jefferson, whatever his name is. And if I can take a waiver on him because he's on waivers and I get him and he ends up being a legitimate wide receiver 2 flex option for a couple weeks, maybe use him as some trade bait, maybe use him as a little bit of value, get somebody else I might be thinking about. I don't know who I'm thinking about, but I could trade him. I'm all about making the next move. This is chess, baby. This is chess. All these motherfuckers out here playing checkers. All right? Bottom line is I love this team. I love this squad. And I'm going to make this next little run through quicker because I'm already 42 minutes in. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here with you, whoever you are, watching me, loving me, wanting me. I'm excited to be here with you, okay? And I've been waiting to talk fantasy football 4 months. 4 months, as in 4, not the number 4, but 4 months. But let's get into my other league real quick. My 12-team league. And just to preference something, we did the draft before all the news came out about Jonathan Taylor. Okay. And motherfucker, I said it. I said it in the group chat. I voiced my concerns. Let me show you my concerns, is what I said. I said, there's been too many damn injuries in the preseason. There's been too many moves, too many question marks. And you want to draft right now? You want to draft right now 2 weeks before 2 weeks left of the preseason? There's fucking question marks left and right. I have questions. You have questions. The league has questions. And they said, listen, Josh, how about you go fuck yourself? I don't give a damn what you want, is what they said. And I don't think I'll ever forgive them, honestly. Looking at what transpired because of this, I'll never forgive them. So getting after it, I had the number 2 pick. I'll take it all day. I'll take it all day long. My good buddy, just one of my favorite people in this world, Dalen O'Toole. He had the number 1 pick. And I just knew, I had a feeling. He is our reigning champ. I got to give it to him. But I had a feeling he was just going to fumble this pick. I just knew it. Just like he fumbled on the day that I went up to him on that scramble, the second day of our golf trip, and I said, I'm going to sink this 35-putter for the win. I said, Dill, I'm going to walk over that ball, and I'm going to put such a damn good stroke on that ball from 35 out. It's going to go dead center cup, and I'm going to walk it out from about 15 feet. I said it, I did it, and we won. So I knew he was going to fumble this pick. I had a feeling. You went Christian McCaffrey. I mean, you might be thinking, oh, it's Christian McCaffrey. Guy's a star. I don't love him this year with the whole backfield situation over in San Fran. A couple question marks, a lot of mouths to feed. Elijah Mitchell, I had Christian McCaffrey last year. And when Elijah Mitchell was playing, I did not feel right. I just knew at some point he was going to get vultured. Christian McCaffrey was going to get vultured at some point, and it happened. There was multiple times that it happened. Don't get me wrong, Christian McCaffrey is still the best running back in football, probably, as a complete back. Excuse me. As a complete back, but people, they like Elijah Mitchell over there. They want to use him. They want to keep Christian McCaffrey fresh. So they're going to be using Elijah Mitchell. I mean, Elijah Mitchell is a good back. I mean, he proved himself a couple years back when everybody else got hurt and he was the only one left. Next thing you know, he snaps, balls out. And now Christian McCaffrey's there, has fucking Elijah Mitchell breathing down his neck. I don't love it, but like I said, I didn't pick him. So I had the number 2 spot. Had everybody in the world to choose from. And you know who I picked? Justin Jefferson. I chose him. And I love him. And I grabbed him. And I'm going to hold on to him. And I'm going to love him. And I'm going to motherfucking take care of him. The J Chips love nuts is just going to love this guy till I can't love him no more. Guy's going to bring me to a chip. Hopefully. So looking at it with Justin Jefferson. In the number 2 slot in a 12-team league, man, you got a long wait, man. I kicked my feet up. I started fucking twiddling my thumbs. I think I made like a pasta dish, a little penne with some Alfredo sauce, couple vegetables in there. I seared up a nice piece of chicken, kept it juicy but yet succulent, with a nice char on the outside. Chars might be a little bit too much. A nice sear, I would say. Chopped that up, put that in, ate it, had a nice nightcap of like a coffee. Maybe even call it like a Irish coffee of some sorts. And then I was able to come back and I still had 7 picks until my pick, being in that second spot until round 2. So I was just waiting, watching players fall, players that I wanted, players that I needed on my team to make me great, just fall off the board consistently. And I'm just waiting. Justin Jefferson's looking at me. I'm looking at him. I'm waiting. He's like, who are you going to put with me? Who are you going to draft? I'm waiting here, lonely as hell in this 12-man league. What the hell's taking so long? All right. So I get to pick 23. I had to wait motherfucking, how many picks is that? 21 fucking picks? How many fucking people are picked? 21 fucking picks, 21 of them. Waiting around, needing these picks. I start looking. I start seeing some guys. Nate Chubb goes, Tony Pollard goes, Josh Jacobs, Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, Patrick Mahomes went in the second round again. Fucking absurd. Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. And I want to say something about DK Metcalf here. I saw him on the board, and for some weird reason, DK Metcalf always ends up on my team somehow. I don't know if it's my strategy. I just end up having to don't get me wrong, DK Metcalf, he's a good receiver. Last year, he did me pretty solid. But the year before, he fucked me. He was the reason I missed the playoffs actually I still made the playoffs, but I think I didn't get the 1 seed or something. I don't know. Bottom line is he fucked me before and he will fuck me again. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So I saw DK Metcalf. I was like, bro, if he falls to me and I have to take him again, I'm going to be pissed. So right before my pick, I got my boy Trevor Dookie. Great guy. But he was last in the league for a reason last year. He goes DK Metcalf instead of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I got to tell you, when I saw the pick get choked, because Amon-Ra was above DK Metcalf. And when I saw DK Metcalf go off the board and Amon-Ra was still there and the Q thing popped up and it said that your pick is now, and I saw Amon-Ra still sitting there. Christ almighty, baby. I don't think I've ever drafted a player so fast. I saw him and I grabbed. A little bit of technical difficulties. Thanks to my mother. Mom, I love you. But honestly, I thought this do not disturb thing. I never use do not disturb. I always put it on airplane mode. I think to myself, let me just put it on airplane mode. Let me be safe. But I see all these motherfuckers putting it on damn do not disturb. Let me take a chance. Calls me up. Call goes away. Ends my video. I mean, what are we doing here, ma? What are we doing here? I love you. I didn't tell you that I was doing this, so I can't blame you. Bottom line is, Amon-Ra St. Brown, real quick, he was mine, okay? So I got Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I get to the third. I need to say this, and I cannot stress this enough. This was before the Jonathan Taylor situation has went down. There was still talks about trade. They kept on saying, there's an 80% chance he gets traded, is what they kept on saying. 80% chance he'll probably go to the Dolphins, might go to the Eagles. Shit, he could go to I don't even know what else they were saying. They said there was like 6 fucking teams. Like the Bears popped up. I don't know. All I know is this. There was never a conversation about what would happen if he didn't get traded. Other than he'll most likely just strap up the pads for the Colts and play for the Colts. You know, there was never really a conversation of what would happen if there was no trade and him not just strapping it up for the Colts. That Thursday, I think it was Thursday, came around at 4 p.m. was like the so-called like deadline for him to find a trade partner, and nothing happened. I mean, bro, my fucking thumb was killing me. The amount I was scrolling and strolling and fucking pressing down trying to get the damn thing to refresh, trying to figure out where the hell this guy was going. I'm talking from like 3:30 to like 4, my thumb was like cramping up from fucking just swiping. I mean, all I could do was just trying to get some intel about where the fuck my guy's going that I drafted in the third round. Third round, and nothing happened. Not a single peep other than he wasn't getting traded. And on top of that, I was like, okay, so he's not getting traded. But like at like 3:50, reports start coming out that like if he doesn't get traded, he still only has 10 minutes to get activated from the PUP list. I was like, I didn't even realize that was a fucking like option. I didn't even think that was like, I mean, maybe that's on me. I should have done a better job, but at the same time, when I drafted this guy, there was no conversations about him just staying on the PUP list. There was weeks. It was like a week until this all went down. When I say I was just flabbergasted and I was heartbroken at the fact that I took him with my third round pick, thinking to myself, I'm about to get a steal here. I mean, Jonathan Taylor in the third round with Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those are stars. Those are stars. All I need is for some things to fall my way. And you're probably laughing at my pain right now. You're loving every second of it. But if you want to know something even worse, is how the rest of my fucking draft goes. Because I was loving it, baby. I was loving it. Go into round 4. So round 3, Jonathan Taylor, thinking that I was going to get some usage. Looking back on the draft, some questionable decisions from your guy here. But like I said, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Jonathan Taylor was still supposed to be playing. I said to myself, let me take a chance. Let me take a chance and get somebody that could be, he would be my RB2 and could literally win me the league because he's really an RB1 usually. I grabbed Alvin Kamara in the 4th. I mean, bro, you're probably thinking to yourself, Josh, you don't even have running backs at this point. At this time, in life right now, the situation that's at hand, Jonathan Taylor's out 4 weeks. Alvin Kamara's out 3 weeks. I do not have 2 of my players from the 3rd and 4th round of my draft. It's almost like I didn't draft in the 3rd or 4th round, is what I'm getting at. I am livid thinking about it. Oh my God, am I upset. And then I get to the 5th round. I told you, that 5th round, I love TJ Hawkinson in that spot. Grab TJ Hawkinson. Go to the 6th. I get Javonte Williams. I think he's going to have a great year after his ACL. I think they're saying that he's 100%. Samaj Piron's over there, but Javonte Williams is a star, and I think they're going to treat him as such. So I have Javonte in the flex. Okay? So when I drafted this team, I see Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara after 3 games, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hawkinson, and Javonte Williams. This is a 12 team, baby. This is depth. This is well-rounded depth we have here. I was feeling on top of the fucking world. I couldn't feel better. I mean, I would have felt better if the Jonathan Taylor was like more solidified, but it wasn't. I get to round 7, and I was looking at Marquise Brown like for like a week before the draft, and I was like, yeah, his quarterback situation sucks. Probably the worst ever. I mean, honestly, put some pads on your boy. Let me loosen up a quick thing, and let me just start ripping passes, because I think I would probably be a better choice than what we have going on over in Arizona right now. Kyler Murray's hurt. Have no idea what the hell's going on with him. I don't even know who the fucking starter is. I think Josh Dobbs just got named the starter. Maybe, possibly. Should be Josh Lamb. Put me in that motherfucker. Put me in, coach. So I was thinking Marquise Brown could be the guy, because he was a star last year when before he got hurt and D-Hop showed up. He got picked right before me. Fucking Dylan O'Toole just grabbed him from my grips right before me. But then I see who's left. And I'm like, is that scary Terry McLaurin just sitting there in the 7th round? I mean, scary Terry. He was the 14th receiver last year, number 14 on the year. And he's 7th round, he's still sitting there? Bro, you think Amon-Ra was quick? Skip! Oh my Jesus, grabbed him with the quickness. Get to round 8. And you're probably thinking, where the fuck is your quarterback, Josh? Where is he? You still don't have one. Get to round 8. I see Courtland Sutton. I was like, you know what? I'm grabbing him. Jerry Jeudy's hurt. I want him. I need him. I get to fucking round 9, and that's where I finally take my quarterback. Probably thinking, Josh, who the fuck is your quarterback? He's probably Cheeks. He very much be Cheeks. There's a very solid chance that he's Big Cheeks, bro. But if he isn't Big Cheeks, let's think in a world of where he is not Big Cheeks. Dak Prescott, if he is a solidifiable quarterback who can give me 17, 18, 19 points a game, maybe even some 20 spots here and there, with my depth, with my team, granted the Jonathan Taylor thing sucks, that's a chip, baby. That's another chip. I could be 2 for 2 on the chips. I mean, this was before I knew I was getting in the third league. But shit, we haven't had my draft yet. I could be 3 for 3 on these motherfuckers. And I'll tell you next week who I got. And I'll give you a little round off of how the week went. So Dak Prescott. So to round off the squad, I got Dak, Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Javonte Williams was supposed to be in the flex, but Terry McLaurin he's supposed to project more than him, so I might throw him in there. But could be Courtland Sutton because Jerry Jeudy's out. I haven't decided on that flex spot yet. But looking at the bench, I have, like I said, Courtland Sutton. I like Jaylen Warren a lot. I think he's going to take over Najee Harris's spot. Kadarius Toney is a guy that I think might end up being a wide receiver 1, maybe wide receiver 2 over there in an offense where Patty Mahomes is slinging that thing. Cool with it. The Chigoziem Onkono, I don't know. Tennessee Titan, fucking tight end. He had some good weeks last year. I thought maybe I would grab him just because the depth on the roster, the depth on the players that were still available were kind of cheekies. So I was like, whatever. And that brings me to the point that I'm getting at of when the Jonathan Taylor thing happened, I was in shambles. Alvin Kamara is gone for 3 weeks. Jonathan Taylor's out for 4. Javonte Williams is coming back from an ACL. I drafted late on in the draft Jeff Wilson Sr. Or is it senior or junior? One of the two. He's a senior, could be a junior. Could be the third. I don't know. All I know is this. I drafted him. And I thought to myself, they don't have anybody else. They have Raheem Mostert, but Jeff Wilson was like their lead back at the end of their year. I was like, maybe I can have him for a couple weeks. Or he could just be a solid backup running back when I need him. So I was like, okay, Jonathan Taylor, you're out for 4 weeks. Jeff Wilson, you're going to have to be my RB2 because Javonte Williams has to move up to the RB1 because Alvin Kamara is not. It's in shambles, baby. Right when I put Jeff Wilson in that RB2 spot, I get a fucking notification. They throw him on IR for 4. Oh my God. For 4 weeks, bro. I mean, a combination of 3 of my running backs that I drafted, a combination of fucking 11 weeks that they're missing. 11 weeks. It's damn near the whole damn season. You hear me? So it was heartbreaking to see that Jeff wasn't news. I mean, and they were saying that he was like pretty healthy. It was questionable. Like he had the Q next to him, questionable, whatever. They didn't say anything about IR until out of nowhere they dropped the bomb on your boy. So Jeff Wilson's gone, dropped his ass. Jonathan Taylor in the IR spot. Now I'm thinking to myself, I have Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, Jeff Wilson gone. 3 of my running backs are gone. The only person that's healthy now in running back is Javonte Williams. Who the fuck do I put in my RB2 spot? I had to go and find fucking Deion Jackson, the fucking star from last year when Jonathan Taylor was out. But honestly, he was so inconsistent. Who fucking knows how he's going to do? Bro, I'm just trying to piece together. All my buddies are like, Jesus, you're real active on that waiver wire. I'm like, bro, I lost 3 running backs. I mean, I knew Alvin Kamara was going to be out. I didn't think JT was going to be out. I didn't think Jeff Wilson was going to be out. I mean, bro, I have to piece together somebody for a couple weeks, man, until at least Alvin Kamara comes back. And there's been no report for Jonathan Taylor. I haven't seen a fucking thing, not a peep about Jonathan Taylor. What the fuck is he going? I need to know. I got fantasy to worry about, you bitch. Nah, not no bitch. He seems like a nice guy. I mean, it's just heartbreaking stuff, man. I mean, it's not a good start because the funny thing is, I know these projections, like the final standing projections, are bullshit for ESPN. I think they're trash. They usually suck. But after this draft, everybody has to take a peek. I take a look. ESPN has me going number 1, baby. The fucking chip. Because think about the fucking depth. I had Cortland Sutton and Terry McLaurin on the pine. This is a 12-team league. They're a big boy. Yeah, I mean, those are 2 legitimate starting wide receivers in the flex spot, potentially. I mean, Cortland Sutton might be a little iffy, depending when Jerry Jeudy comes back. But Terry McLaurin, I'm happy about. I loved that. I mean, I had depth in a fucking 12-team league. I mean, it's hard to have that kind of depth in the 12-man league. It's just tough. Between running backs being super solid, between Jonathan Taylor and Alvin Kamara when he comes back, Javonte Williams in the flex, fucking Cortland Sutton in the flex, Terry McLaurin in the flex, TJ Hawkinson at tight end, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, what are we doing here, baby? I mean, I had the ingredients in this bitch. I mean, I'm just whipping this bitch up. I mean, the seasonings, the flavors of what this team could be. Oh, I mean, it's just, oh my God. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a gambling man. Never really been much of a gambler. I mean, you put me at the Hard Rock, I might hit the blackjack a little bit. I might slap it down, and I play the numbers, and I play damn well. But I've never been that much of a gambler. I usually like to play it pretty safe. But when it comes to fantasy, my fucking gears start going, baby. And I think, what if? That's what I'm saying, man. I've said it once. I've said it a million times. What if? What if he becomes the bell cow? What if he becomes the man? What if the fucking he gets traded? I don't know. All I'm saying is, I said, what if Jonathan Taylor goes to Miami and he becomes the lead back? And what if Alvin Kamara comes back after 3-week suspension and comes back as the fucking RB10 on the year? What are we doing here? The flavors of that pot of delicious gumbo with a little dash of Justin Jefferson, a little spice of Amon-Ra St. Brown, a little bit of oregano of motherfucking Alvin Kamara, a little fucking paprika from TJ Hawkinson. I mean, the flavors. I mean, they're just melting. So damn scrumptious. And for that to be just ripped away from me before week 1 even got close. I mean, I've been dealing with this turmoil for the past 2 weeks. Like I said, all I can think about is fantasy. I mean, but I'm going to piece together some weeks, bro. I got to. I mean, like I said, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Warren, Kadarius Toney. I got Kareem Hunt. That's when you know you're down bad right now, my boy. My gang, my squad. Then when you got a free agent who has offers sitting on the table and he refuses to take one because he thinks he's the fucking king, sitting on my pine because I'm hoping to God he gets signed somewhere where he is the guy. Hopefully it happens. I'm waiting for it. I got Zach Moss. I got Deion Jackson at RB2 spot. Zach Moss with the broken chicken wing on my bench. Then I picked up Van Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, my IR spot. I mean, bro, I am fighting for my life after going projected 1 in this league, finishing 1 in this league. I'm fighting for my life. Bro, I don't even have a kicker right now. I don't have a kicker in my fucking kicker spot because I need to hold all these running backs to see what the fucking news is if I have anything for that RB2 or flex position. I'll get a kicker at some point. Before week 1 happens, I'm sure I'll get a kicker. I'm going to need one. But that's the situation. In about 30 minutes, I got my third draft. I'm excited to see what I have there. I got the 5th pick. I don't know what I'm going to do there. 5th pick in a 12-man league is a little interesting. I mean, I've been doing some mocks. I'm not super, super excited about that 5th pick. I just need some things to fall my way. So probably going to go with a little bit of that wide receiver heavy aspect. Bottom line is my 2 drafts, major successes, other than a couple hiccups that I'm going to have to just bury through. One fucking league, final standing projection number 1. The other one, the 10-man league, has me projected number 2. I know what I'm doing. Okay. Let's just hope it pans out. Let's hope I can stay away from the injury bug. Knock on wood. You saw what I did downstairs. Knocking on wood. We'll see how it goes, man. I mean, I'm just happy to be back. I can't wait to wake up. You can smell it. You can smell it in the air. The crispness. God, is it crisp? I mean, food tastes better. Water is colder. The fucking air is crisper. I mean, football's back, baby. Football's back. I mean, and on top of that, I just got a new crib ski, and it has a little screened-in patio action. Yeah, family right over like a little bit of water. The vibes are going to be through the roof. I might even put a little grill outside, hang up a little TV with me, and I'm just chefing. Just chefing while I got my team popping off. Or not popping off. Who's to say? Knowing my luck, they'll shit the bed. And I won't win a damn thing this year. Who's to say? All I know is I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be chatting to nobody. I mean, when I say nobody, I mean the camera. But I'm happy to be talking to, who wants to listen. With that being said, we're going to have a fun year. And I'll be doing these every week. It's, shit, I just kind of like hearing myself talk. But this is Joshua Lamb, your host of Can't Silence the Lamb. And you can take that to the bank. Okay. Have a great week.